right now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 2 minutes after 10. This is a Zoom meeting, so I will introduce the Board of Selectmen members that are present. Lenny Hull is present, as well as myself, Ken Pacheco, and I will introduce Mike Mullen, our town administrator. And as I go through each department head, I will introduce you, so it's recorded. Like I said, this is a Zoom meeting, not an in-person meeting. I hope everybody had a safe time with their family and friends over the holidays. And I would ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I just want everybody to know that the Board of Selectmen will have a special meeting tonight. We will be hiring a contact tracing person tonight, hopefully. And we will also be updating the protocols for COVID regarding our employees and what their requirements are. So based on that, I will turn it over to Mike, and then I will come back to me, and I'll be asking for department head reports.
Great.
So Mike.
So yeah, I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. So based on what you just mentioned, Mr. Chairman, we do have proposed updated the COVID employee protocols that I'm just actually gonna try to share to my screen so we can actually go line by line. So like at the beginning of last month, actually on December 8th and 9th, you'll remember that the Board of Selectmen updated our return to work protocols then, based on the CDC and the DPH guidance at that time. Like as I think everyone has heard and knows, at the beginning of last week, the CDC, they actually updated their quarantine and isolation guidelines. And then at the end of last week, DPH really did the same to be better in line with the CDC. So in terms of the town being aligned with both, the pandemic task force met, today's Wednesday, the pandemic task force met on Monday. I can discuss bringing our employee return to work protocols in line with the DPH and the CDC in the CDC guidelines. So what you see here, I'll zoom in a little more. What you see with the track changes is where our proposed updated protocols would actually be changed from what was actually approved in December by the pandemic task force and then by the Board of Selectmen. So you'll see in 2A specifically, the first two changes actually reflect the decrease in isolation periods from 10 to 5 days. And then in line with the updated protocols from DPH, we included the requirement that an employee returning to work after an isolation period shall wear their mask for an additional 5 days. We also in the second part of part 2, we also in line with the DPH and the CDC protocols, we also reduced the quarantine, the quarantine period from an exposed person from 10 to 5 days, and that person would be able to report back to work on the 6th day. And even though an exposed individual will report to work and is able to report and is able to report back to work and not have to work from home on the 6th day, they also will be required up until day 10 to wear a mask. And then in line with the DPH protocols, the last line reflects actually an updated DPH protocol as well. So that is that. Then and those are all the changes. Oh, and those are all the changes that are being recommended and proposed by the pandemic task force. By the pandemic task force at this time in line with the DPH and CDC protocols. I also want to mention I have a number of employees out right now who are either quarantining or have tested positive. I just want to reinforce actually the importance of this section right here. That if any employee tests positive, and if any employee if any employee is experiencing symptoms, they need to report it to the health agent and their department head. So like we've had a few instances in the last few days where an issue has only been reported to the department head. So in all issues, we need to let the health agent know as well. So I'll take any questions. I did reach out Monday afternoon, and I sent these updated protocols to all of our union representatives as well. I haven't heard anything back relative to any concerns. So I expect that no news. So I expect that no news is good news. But I wanted to see if anyone had any questions or concerns. On any of this.
I actually do have a question.
Yep.
In the pandemic meetings,
Mm-hmm.
has there been any talk or discussion about criteria for a department meeting shut down if the number of cases reaches an alarming rate, especially where people work in a closed environment?
So so like in any setting that has more than 2 people in an office who have tested positive, that is defined as a cluster. So and then at that point we would shut that department down, and we.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, we actually had an emergency meeting yesterday. We had a situation and we took action on that as well. Any other questions on that or the protocols or anything about COVID at this point?
Mike,
Yes, Jocelyn.
is there any change to in-person meetings or anything like that for committees or boards?
Not at this point, no.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Mike, do you know when the next time the pandemic committee is going to, task force is going to meet?
Yes, it's going to be meeting next Thursday afternoon, if not otherwise sooner.
Okay,
So-
I had asked in the past to be notified of these meetings so that I can attend. I am not a member of this, but I wanted to
Yeah, okay.
at least sit in. So I wasn't aware that there was a meeting yesterday or this past
So-
meeting until after the fact.
You have a question.
Okay, yep,
I'm a little disturbed that Mr. Pacheco wasn't a part of that meeting. I
okay.
do know he had asked, and I totally
Hmm.
support that all further meetings involving the pandemic committee, especially where decisions are made to close prime time, that input from the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
He, as chairman, I think he should be a part of that.
So yes, and I agree, and I apologize on that. So the emergency meeting yesterday came together, like actually very, very, very quick. So on the pandemic task force meeting on Monday, you should have been invited. So yes, I apologize, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I do agree with what the pandemic task force has done as far as closing prime time as well as changing the protocol this past Monday. But like I said, I would have liked to
Mhm.
been involved in that.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, no, I apologize again for that. It's been a few crazy days, but that's not an excuse.
I hear you. Do you have anything else to report to us, Mike?
So on the updated protocols, I don't have anything on that, but I do actually, like, I do want to move into the FY23 budget update, and I'm also going to pull up our budget, the budget information that went out actually last week from the town accountant. If everyone can just bear with me one more moment. Okay. So at the end of last week, the town accountant sent out a budget memo from the town accountant to myself as well, like as all the pay rates for fiscal year 23, like in the budget worksheets as well. And I just wanted to go through the guidelines for this year's budget process and make sure no one actually had any questions. So as I mentioned, we did include the pay rates for FY23 in the spreadsheet, so everybody should have those. So at this point, 23 expects to be a really tight year based on available revenues. So, so we're asking everyone when possible to submit like actually a level funded expense budget if possible. We are asking everyone in the side letter to detail in a side letter like any operational expenses relating to technological needs, so we have the ability to better track them. If you're a department that takes in revenue, we're asking you to project estimated revenue for 23 as well. Also asking you to take an inventory of any employees in your department who is interested in participating in the town's tuition reimbursement program. So we have the ability to plan for that as well. And as a separate part of the budget process, we're going through the capital plan with our capital outlay committee. So all of our capital projects are going through that process as well, and not actually through the operational budget as in years past. So also, if the department is planning on any employee retirements, like in FY23, we need to plan for any applicable payouts as well. So I just wanted that to be on everyone's radar. So So we're asking all budget information to be submitted to us, actually by, I think it is Monday, the 31st. Actually, of January, then in the month of February, there'll be, but there'll be meetings with the town administrator and town accountant, and that would take us in actually to the Board of Selectmen budget process, the end of February and beginning of March. So does anyone have any questions on that?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, Tom.
I have a question. If I have the CPC
Mm-hmm.
organization.
Yep.
Now that's a quasi state and town body. I have one part-time clerk that I turn in a payroll that your town accountant processes. Where do I stand with all this paperwork? I've never heard of it.
Yep. So,
But don't forget, I just took this thing
Yep.
over.
So yeah, like the CPC budget is separate from the town's operational budget, Tom, and you pay your administrative assistant through CPA fees. So you're not part of our operational budget process.
All right, so you don't need anything from me then, per se?
No, not at this point. Nope.
Okay. I ask a lot of questions. I apologize.
That's okay. I do too. So thank you, Tom.
Oh, I just want to tell you my wife's doing better.
That is really, really, really good news. Thank you,
I
Tom.
know.
Good to
All
hear.
right, thank you. Sorry about that, Mr. Pacheco.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to get to you
You're
anyway.
running the show. Yeah. All right. I gotta get my own gavel, man. You know what I mean?
I'm at my desk at home and I don't have a gavel here, but actually I do have a gavel. If I need it, I'll use
tell
it.
you, I'm getting one for my next meeting. I'm getting a gavel.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, do you have anything else?
Yeah. So you're like on the capital planning process. The capital outlay committee met actually last, I believe it was on December 16th. On the 18th of January, on February 1st, we're going to be meeting with the departments who submitted requests. So on the 18th, just as an example, we're meeting with assessors. We're meeting with the Board of Health. We're hoping to meet with the school, but that might get pushed back. We're meeting with Parks and Rec, the library, and IT. That is on January 18th. And then on February 1st, we're looking to meet actually with the sewer department. We're looking to meet with the historical commission, the fire department, the highway department, and police as well. So that process is very much underway, Mr. Chairman. And I actually wanted to give everyone a heads up on that as well, on an update. So that is all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for your
Thank you, everybody.
the information you gave us in the report. So before I start asking department heads to give me an update, I'm going to let Lenny Ho, our selectman, if he has any concerns or anything he wants to bring up to the department heads.
No, not at this time.
Okay, if anytime you have any questions or concerns, obviously, just let me know, Selectman Ho. I'm going to go to Chief McDonald. Are you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. A couple of things. The first thing I want to mention about the COVID thing. In this department, I sent an email back December 27th, I think it was, and directed all the officers that when they go on any call now, they have to wear a mask wherever, if it's outside, they're stopping vehicles, if they're going into residence or any type of situation. So that's what this department's doing right now. The officers are wearing their masks now. So I just want to let you know that. Second thing is the traffic grant that we got this past month. We put extra patrols on. Guys are out there stopping cars, doing checking different areas of the town. So that went pretty well. next thing there, I believe there's gonna be, month, there's something else that has to go out. So we'll continue to do that. As far as Academy, we have, Aaron Swanson Academy. He'll be graduating in, I think it's the first week of February, the second week of February, he'll be coming on board. And then, Julia, will be sending her to the academy. She starts January 17th. So she'll be attending the, Randolph Police Academy. So, that's what's going on here. Other than that, we try to stay safe, and I hope everybody else does too.
Thank you, Chief. Good to see that the 2 new employees are going to be starting soon. The town needs it. Kerry
Thank you.
Easterday. Yeah, thank you. Kerry Easterday, any update on planning or ZBA? I know Tim Rhines is in the back, but he can speak if he wants to. Okay, Kerry, you're muted. Do you have anything for us?
Hi.
Hi.
So, give me 1 second. Okay, so
Okay. Do you want me to go to somebody else?
okay, so I don't really have much to report because I have not been in the office for a little bit. So forgive me. But we do
Okay.
have a public hearing tonight and a meeting with a couple Form As and a retreat lot for Tony Roderick on 0 William Street. We do have a proposed presentation for Blue Wave Solar, which is the solar on the corner of Middle and Tremont Street. They're proposing to an alternative emergency vehicle turnaround. That's what they're proposing so far. So not sure, they haven't given me any presentation documents or anything yet. So that remains to be seen for tonight. I did receive a wonderful, huge package from 620 Spring Street, which is a special permit for marijuana. Haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but I do anticipate to go through it either today or tomorrow so that we can start that process. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Again, I haven't been in the office, so forgive me. That's pretty much what I have on tap at the moment. And then we still have the issue with Brook Street Solar and coming up with the standard operating procedure for the battery storage units. So that matter is still outstanding. We haven't rendered, or the planning board has not rendered a decision on that. I don't see the applicant willing to keep extending the decision out for very long. So we do have to buckle down and come up with something so that we can have a decision made, because it's the only thing that's outstanding at the moment. So I have not had a chance to reach out to the fire chief or the building commissioner to see where we stand on that. So I'm hoping to do that within, I guess Jim's on vacation today, so I'll do that tomorrow and see where we stand, and hopefully we can buckle down and get down, because I believe we're meeting with Brook Street Solar on the 15th of February. And I would think that Brook Street is going to be looking for a decision on that matter at that point. Well, hoping, let's put it that way.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'm
Tim.
of the ilk with the Brook Street situation is that if they have the capabilities to go online right now, I think the building commissioner, if he can, through the permitting process, allow them to go online. And then again, we have to do a standard operating procedures. So how we're going to go forward with battery storage, because we also have possibly a secondary location at Tremont and Middle Street, and also a future battery storage facility up off of North Street. So what I'd like to do is that get together again with the building commissioner, all the appropriate entities, and let's get cracking on this. We need to get something done. Also, I am going to put it out there at this evening's meeting for our members that I'm looking for volunteers so we can retweak our bylaws regarding solar and get the process started so we can get that information to our attorneys to be reviewed to get on the warrant for the annual town meeting in June.
Yes, especially regarding battery storage, because we haven't addressed that in the past, and now it looks like that's what all the future solar farms are going to be requesting. So that's important.
I'm sorry, I should have addressed everyone first by saying Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone had a great Christmas holiday. And again, Happy New Year to everyone. So,
Happy New Year.
Tom Borkman, if you can hear me, please call me on my cell phone when you get a chance, please, if you could. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Kerry, anything on the ZBA?
No, I don't have anything really. I've had,
Okay.
a couple inquiries about filing for an application, but nothing received. And we didn't have a meeting in December because it fell on Christmas week. And then our next meeting is at the end of January, forgive me.
You wish.
And I haven't received anything yet. So pretty quiet on the ZBA front.
Thank you, Kerry.
You're welcome.
Heather, for the Highway Department, any updates for us?
Yes, nothing really pending, but we are currently hosting in-house and online training to maintain our OSHA compliancy, which includes respirator, hoisting, wood chipping, safety, which they're doing today. And we have chainsaw safety coming up January 4th through the 26th. And in regards to that, we need permission to use the rifle range, the police training facility, in order to finish this course. And the reasons are that it's off-road and there's no distractions, and there are also trees that need to be removed for the range improvements. We're snow ready. Hopefully we won't get too much snow on Friday, but we'll see. You never know. And we'll just continue to help others and the scouts in town as needed. And lastly, I was told to ask, we look forward to a new boom truck in the near future. Mike.
Me too.
We all do.
That's it.
Oh, thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
I do have to say for the record, so that project and finishing that up was on my priority list to get done actually yesterday afternoon. So, but unfortunately, other very time sensitive events actually got in the way. But I actually did call Tom, just so everybody knows, around 11:30 yesterday, and I said this will be done by the end of the day. So, and lo and behold, I ended up spending actually most of yesterday afternoon with Tom. So and that didn't get done. So I'll blame that on him too.
Thank you, Mike.
you.
Thank you. Jocelyn, any updates on the library for us?
Not a lot. The highway department has been here to reinforce our shelving in the modular. We're still doing story times, but we'll wait and see for guidance on COVID, and we're just moving along.
Jocelyn, for story time, do you require the kids to wear a mask?
The toddlers, no. We're following the town guidelines that masks are encouraged. So,
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jocelyn. Stephanie, from the Assessors Office, do you have anything for us?
We've been receiving a lot of calls from taxpayers about their bills. So it's very time consuming in this office right now.
Yeah.
Trying to break everything down. I think we're handling it pretty well. Once you explain to them, it's also the water tax, it's not just all real estate tax. They have a better understanding.
Yeah.
So we're just plugging forward, trying to keep everyone happy. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, social media hasn't helped that situation.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not on it.
Good move. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Stephanie. Lisa, do you have anything for us?
Yes, I do. How's everyone doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, we have some things going on. Actually, right after this meeting, I'm heading out to meet with the developer for Hunter's Hill and a member of the Conservation Commission and our consultant as well to go walk that site. So that one's moving along. They're making good progress, meeting the criteria, the performance standards for the Wetlands Protection Act and the bylaw. So it's looking good. Forest Hills again has been continued. Did I cut out? Okay. Okay. Forest Hills again has been continued. They asked us to table till February. So that's on hold. We have a restoration project being proposed by the Reeds brothers for a site on the east side of William Street that we are reviewing. They're trying to work with Army Corps and DEP to make sure the restoration that's proposed is going to be sufficient. So we'll be hearing that again at the next meeting. We also have several septic system repairs and several house lots. So several new house lots that we're reviewing, as well as our ongoing mitigation, restoration, enforcement issues that we have going on in town. I continue to monitor the permit link database at least 2 or 3 times a week to make sure that I'm contacting any landowners, any property owners that might need to file due to their application with the building inspector. And I think that's probably it. We're all trying to avoid COVID. Not sure if the Conservation Commission will adopt the Zoom meeting as an option, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lisa. I just want to say that you have a
Thank
tough
you.
job. You have a tough job. Enforcing anything is always difficult, but you do it very well. So I just
Thank
want to
you.
thank you for the hard work that you do. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Ray Haig, our Veterans Agent. Any updates for us? Maybe Ray stepped out. I'm going to go to Pam Waller for the clerk's office, Mark Pacheco. Pam, are you there? Okay. I'm going to go to, my daughter's a teacher, just so you know, and she has to do some Zoom classes, and before you couldn't see the students' faces, but starting today, they were able to see the faces, so that know that they're not just on Zoom, walked away or whatever, and she found some interesting things going on with the students, so just a side note. Janelle Vining, do you have an update for us for the accountant's office?
Just wanted to follow up kind of on what Mike said about the spreadsheets and everything for the budget. If anybody has any questions or needs any additional information from our office, please just let us know. Give me a call or email me and I'm happy to help out.
Thank you, Janelle. Mary Hathaway, do you have any updates for us?
So, tax bills were sent out, so I'm not the most popular person in the world right now. But, and we also are getting a lot of calls concerning raising the taxes, but girls are doing a great job explaining the situation. So that's all I have. I just want to wish everybody a happy new year and a healthy new year.
Thank you, Mary. Mrs. Goulart, do you have anything for us? Do you have anything
yes.
for stormwater or assessors? Yep.
Yeah, regarding the assessors, I've gotten emails and questions too. And what I'm telling everybody is take a look at, if you live in the Dayton Water District, you're probably going to see the largest increase because there was a substantial increase in the Dayton Water District rate. One person said that his total increase would have been in the neighborhood of $200, but when he looked at everything, it's up $600. I had told this person ahead of time, brace yourself. There's going to be a large increase in the water district tax. So when people say, what happened and all this other stuff, I say to them, if you live in the Dayton Water District, take a look at that. I think people living in the Dayton Water District have got to become more active as ratepayers and taxpayers in that district. I've attended some of the meetings. It's like ghost town. Even when I was several years ago, when I was on the FinCom, the town FinCom, and I'm just going to leave it at that. The public gets very concerned about taxes, and yes, we're finally getting people to participate at the town level for the town budget. But you better pay attention to the Dayton Water District budget. It's up there, and they're saying it's going to continue to go up because of their needs, which I'm not going to get into at this point. But heads up, folks, because when I told this person about this a month ago, I got the email saying you were right. So, and again,
No question on that.
yeah, no, and yes, town employees are just doing their jobs, collecting the tax, issuing bills, collecting taxes. We all know that. And they're not responsible for what got set. I mean, that's the town budget is set by the people who go to town meeting. But the total bill, take a look at Dayton Water. The other thing I will say to you is Stormwater Committee. Yes, I agree with what Mr. Rhines had said. Last fall, I'm going to say August or September, when we were told there was a big deadline that had to be met, October 10th or something. I had told the gentleman that I usually deal with, Mr. Hafez, forget the batteries. You're not going to get the deadline accomplished through the town yet. Go for an extension. Get the answer for us that we need on the detention basin that's got panels in it. Set the battery issue aside. This was last August, September. Oh, well, we got to do, well, no, I investigated. No. You can add batteries at any time and get the financial benefit under the state SMART program. And furthermore, that whole thing's been held up for 18 months by the Public Utilities Commission. And I had passed this info on to Mr. Rhines after I found it. So I agree with Mr. Rhines is when between the planning board and the building commissioner say that, look, you can go online and generate electricity. We'll talk about the batteries at a future meeting, at a future discussion, because we are looking at those other potentials that have already been mentioned by Mr. Rhines. Other things on the Stormwater Committee agenda. We've had a number of complaints for illegal filling of land, illegal dumping, and kind of the filling and the dumping are in some cases one in the same meeting. They illegally dumped stuff to fill a low area with junk. And so now we're looking for plans from at least one civil engineer on how to clean up the mess, because you just can't go in there and dig it out. And all of this came about because of complaints from the neighbors. There will be more properties in that area that will be investigated and probably cited. And all this dumping has created water backing up instead of flowing off where it should go. And we all know we can't have standing water because then we end up with mosquitoes. So we're following up on a number of issues like that. If you've been by Arujo's farm stand towards the end of the year, you notice that they took down those big greenhouses, and there's going to be one giant greenhouse in its location. And that one building is going to allow them to actually use the space that was between the other greenhouses, which gives them in square footage almost another whole greenhouse. So I realize that's not a stormwater issue, but I mention this because there are two solar farms that will be located up in the woods, quite a distance beyond the Dayton water tank that's up there. And the two solar farms actually are connected to Arujos, but there are two because there are two property owners. One of them's a trust and one is actually Arujos themselves. They had planned to break ground before the end of the year. I don't believe that's going to happen now because, as I said, the land has been, greenhouses were taken down, that area was cleared, and they're looking to get that greenhouse up and running. So the solar farm is not under construction at this point in time, but that will be coming. They have met the requirements. We did the site visits and we got our questions answered there. So other than the usual kind of things, we're working with the Conservation Commission on sort of combined complaints. Two spots on Horton Street. One has been stopped. The other one, I think, has got to go or is waiting for the Army Corps of Engineers because of a stream crossing. What we do is both the commission and the committee look at these, and then we take a look to see actually who has the lead jurisdiction. So in the case of the Reed property that was mentioned, Concom is handling that. Stormwater is aware, and Mrs. Caledonia keeps us in the loop. But at this point, it's Concom. So I think that's everything I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gulak. Tom Borkin, are you available?
It's muted.
Hello?
Hi, Tom.
Hello?
Hello, you want to give us an update on CPC?
Yes, sir. Okay, I think that you're aware I had to cancel the last meeting. Got a couple of communication issues or something going on. I haven't figured it out yet, but somebody scheduled a meeting for me, but I didn't schedule a meeting, and because I have materials that I have to get out. And because of my wife, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but I have to tell you, I think you've all been in that situation at one time or another. And I know, Mr. Chairman, that you're a big believer in family. So I'm not making an excuse, but we're on it. We're gonna have another meeting. It took us a while to get to a meeting because of all the health issues, everything else. But I'm not a quitter, and I'm gonna be there. I've got, everything is lined up, and we'll get everything out there. I just haven't been able to get in there to give you a face-to-face update, which I like face-to-face, but now we're in COVID, I guess, lockdown or something. Semi-lockdown, total lock, I don't know. But I know that my son is a firefighter. And he followed in my footsteps, and he's in Rhode Island, and they ordered him, he has COVID. And he was sick, really sick for a while. And he's been ordered in to work with a mask. And he's still not 100%, but he's better. But he knows what he's doing. He's on the COVID task force for the state of Rhode Island. And he got sick. So what does that tell you about Omicron and all this other stuff? So all I'm saying is, everything's fine. We're moving ahead. I'm not moving out of town. I mean, I'm in town. The water bills, I can't believe the water bill. The town, they don't want to talk about it, but if it was me, I'd just take it over and make it part of the town. But you'd have to have an act of Congress probably, or go up to the state. You'd have to, they don't want to hear that from me. But I mean, if you had a town, it doesn't even apply to CPC, so I won't belabor that. But anyhow, yeah, everything's fine. I'm trying to listen better and be brief, but you know how it is. You give me the thing. But anyhow, Happy New Year, everybody. Hang in there. We're going to get through this, I believe. And I try to be positive, and I don't know, what else to tell you. I'm glad you people. Oh, I just wanted to thank everybody, because it is a big heart. The town does have a big heart. They do care. And Mr. Chairman, you've mentioned that's not just a tagline. I do believe that the town of Dayton people do care about their people, their constituents, their residents, their fellow employees, whether you're a volunteer, paid, it doesn't matter. you got, it's very, I had to leave the meeting last time early at the prime time. I was getting a little choked up because my wife had, you know, I mean, it was, we almost lost her. And, but I want to tell you, I've only been in town, let's see, I've been volunteering since 2016. I've started on the town administrator selection committee or whatever that thing was. That went on forever. But now we have our second town administrator. So we're going to see, you know, I'll be seeing him a lot because that's where you go when you need answers, or you go to the chairman. You know what I mean? All right. So I am going to get off of here. Ken, you probably let me go last because I talk too much. All right. Thank you, folks.
You must have read my mind. Tom, I'm glad your
I
wife
do
is,
read your mind. If you have any questions.
I'm glad your wife is doing better, Tom.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
That's all I got.
Yes, Mrs. Goulart.
I forgot to mention,
Thank you, Tom. Mrs. Goulart.
I forgot to mention that the Board of Assessors has changed its meeting schedule for generations. The Board of Assessors have met after the workday ends, and their time was Wednesdays at 4 every other Wednesday. So that was because one of the elected assessors was a full-time employee of the town of Dayton. And this goes back 3 generations because Harold Mendoza and David Long and Carol were all full-time employees of the town of Dayton. And as elected officials, they could not meet during their workday because in effect, they would not be doing one of their jobs if you look at the way it falls. So anyhow, now that Mrs. Schechter's on board, we are looking at, we posted, we checked with Mrs. Brady and Mrs. Kerwin. And initially we looked at Wednesdays at 4. And then at our last meeting, we had changed it to a during the day meeting because one member wasn't available and 2 of us were available at a different time. So anyhow, right now we're posted for every other week on a Wednesday at 4. We, at our next meeting next week, we're going to be looking at a different meeting schedule because one member cannot make Wednesdays during the day, but we're still looking to come up with a meeting time during the day. So that may be more convenient to other people or even departments or whatever, but we will get that out there and posted. But for the next meeting, it will be on a Wednesday, the 12th at 4 o'clock at the Old Town Hall, assuming we can meet there safely and everything else. Fortunately, there's only, well, 4 of us present, so we can really spread out and wear masks. But I just wanted to let the board and the everybody know. We are looking at a more convenient meeting time for everybody and without duplicating elected and appointed positions and conflicts and all that. So just a heads up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Goulart. Ray Haig, are you available? Ray? If not, Pam, are you available? Pam Waller? Is there anything else people want to bring up before I adjourn this meeting?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep. Selectman Hull.
actually, there's no one at the meeting from the pandemic committee. You weren't privy to that meeting that was held. No one from the Board of Health is also present at this meeting. So the only one that was Mr. Mullen.
Yes.
Mr. Mullen, could you give us a report on what decisions and what has happened at the pandemic task force, please?
Yes, so the pandemic task force meeting on Monday, there was a discussion about the updated COVID protocols that were actually re-updated to be in line with the updated CDC and the DPH protocols, which we discussed earlier. And then at the end of last week, the state actually made available to actually through the state contract, and it was originally intended to be funded like with the FEMA funding that the state and federal government have been making available to cities and towns, but actually the funding through the state contract of rapid at-home tests. So we discussed on Monday afternoon the ability or the possibility of the town purchasing the at-home tests. And there was a lot of discussion about the fact that based on the Omicron variant, that a lot of the antigen at-home tests are not actually picking up the variant in the at-home test, and whether or not it would be effective or not. It would be effective or not from the town to spend its ARPA money to purchase them. So actually there is a webinar that's being held by the state. Actually, hold on, it's in my calendar. I think tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning. So the pandemic task force had actually recommended that I actually attend the state webinar, and we could actually revisit the conversation actually at our next meeting. So those were the two issues we discussed on Monday. So those were the two issues discussed on Monday and the outcome. And then we had a very emergency impromptu meeting yesterday where we actually had a concern about COVID at prime time. So for the next for at least the next week and a half, prime time will be closed.
It'll be the next week and a half.
So yeah, and we have we're having another meeting we're having another meeting next Thursday, and we're going to discuss whether to reopen or not at that point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? There was a question in the chat room. Did you get to see it, Mike?
So yes. So yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, going back to the discussion about the water district and the increase in the water district taxes. The water district has been invited and will be attending the next, actually the January 12th Board of Selectmen meeting. So and they'll be talking about the tax increase, and they'll also be talking about what their capital plan intends really to fund, in the next few years. So yeah, so yeah, Wednesday the 12th, which is a week from tonight, they'll be at the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or any other concerns? I think our next department head meeting is February 2nd. I would probably be advocating that it also be a Zoom meeting because of the way the numbers are going up in Dayton. So I'm going to ask that the meeting adjourn then. See everybody. Take care.
Do you need to make a motion?
Well, actually, because Mr. Hull is here, I probably do it. If you can make the motion, I'll step down a second, Selectman Hull.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the department meeting at this time.
I'll step down and second that motion that we adjourn the Selectmen's meeting, which is also the department head meeting. Call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Campuchico is an aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Thank you, everybody.